Hi everyone. This week we're having a little bit of fun making a lovely little cat plush toy. You'll need just two pieces of fabric, a bit of stuffing and a little bit of ribbon. You'll also need the template, which you can download from our blog. I've added a link in the description for that and it's completely free. I'm undecided right now as to which ribbon to go for, but we'll see later on. You'll also need a hand needle and some thread to close up the opening later on. So those two pieces of fabric I mentioned need to be around 8.5 by 11 inches. Place the two pieces of fabric right sides together. Now you have options here. I'm going to show you parts of this using the different options and you can decide which you prefer. So in any case, pop in a few pins to keep the layers of fabric and the template together. So the first of the marking options is chalk pencil or chalk, whichever. You can kind of see it, but it isn't really ideal on this dark fabric. To be fair, if it was completely black, it would probably be fine. So you could literally use the templates and carefully cut around the entire thing without marking it up at all. Or the other option is to use a heat erasable pen. So draw around. Remove all the pins. Take away the templates. Actually put the pins back in now to keep the fabric together. Then simply use the mark lines to cut. The upside of this one is that the fabric's more flexible without the paper attached, which makes it a bit easier to get around some of those curves. Either way you decide to go, just ensure your two pieces stay together. So with the 2 pieces of fabric still pinned, sew around the project using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Leave this area at the back of the cat's front leg open for turning, and remember to backstitch at the beginning and at the end. I popped in a couple of pins to remind me where to start and stop sewing. Oh, sorry, let's move that camera up so that you can actually see. Now we need to notch all the curves. The bulk of this is actually made up of curves, so the best idea is to simply go around the entire thing cutting about a centimetre apart. Just make sure you don't cut through your stitches. So turn the project right way out, poke out the corners, curves, tails, ears, etc. As well as you possibly can. Now add toy stuff in, but be sure to push it into all those crevices. Use a ladder stitch to close up the opening we're left for turning. If you've never used a ladder stitch before, let's close up on this and see if we can make it a bit clearer. So tuck the opening to force the fabric inside, and if you've the iron handy, give the edge of it a quick press to make the edges crisp. Unfortunately, I've already turned it off and put that away, so I'm just going to pop in a pin to keep these fabrics together a little bit while I sew. Use double thread for strength. You'll need a knot in the end of that thread. So from this area here where we stopped sewing on the machine, we're going to push the needle upward from the inside of the project. Now go back down into the fabric, but don't pull it through yet. Instead, push the needle forward another 3mm and then pull out. Now put the needle through the opposite side of the opening, again on that fold line, down 3mm and pull through. If you pull lightly, you should then be able to bring the two halves together. Continue in the same way until you get to the end. So in, down 3mm, out. In at the opposite side, down 3mm, out, and repeat and repeat. Just to point out, you can go smaller than 3mm, but don't go any longer than that, else you'll risk the fabric bunching up as it's pulled taut. It does take a little while, but the finish is worth it. If the cattail starts to get in the way, just pin it out of the way for now. When you get to the end, pop the needle into the fabric as close to your last stitch as you can and out the other side of it. Do this a few times and it will secure the stitches. Once you've repeated that a few times, pull the thread out and snip off close to the fabric. When you snip it, it'll simply disappear inside the project. And as you can see, the stitch is basically invisible. Tie a little piece of ribbon around the cat's neck as a collar. You could add a little bell to this, but if you're giving this to a child, don't include a bell. Yeah, I think either a larger piece of ribbon or maybe put the tie on the back. Thinking about it, a lovely little crocheted scarf would be really pretty here. And that's it. How adorable is this? So thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel. Until next time, happy sewing. I popped in a couple of pins to remind. There! Now that's sewn, we need to notch all the curves. The bulk of this is there. Now,